Yeah, and I've had some interesting conversations with the industry, with a number of recommendations, and let me list off five here, and tell me if you guys agree or if there's a particular one that you guys think is more valuable, or maybe one you think should be off the list. Number one is to clearly document the roles and responsibilities of that CISO. Right? Are they going to have final say? Do they actually have to sign off on it? After legal reviews and gives a thumbs up, does any minor changes, does it have to go back to the CISO to get approval for these types of disclosures? That'd be one. The clear documented roles and responsibilities. The second, if you're going and getting a job as a CISO, you really should have, D&O.
Pointing out is somewhat reasonable. The content for any kind of security disclosure publicly should come from the experts, and the experts are in the cybersecurity organization, and the cybersecurity leader represents that. So no, I have no qualms about that. And I think most CISOs would say, hey, I'm willing to step up to that responsibility, and that's part of the package here, and that's the way it should be. So I accept that as kind of one of the responsibilities. But I just want to point out that it takes two to tango. In other words, the CISO has to convince the legal department on both what information to share and when to share that information. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that there's some give and take that is probably helpful in protecting the enterprise. But ultimately, in terms of the technical content of the disclosure, it really does fall upon the CISO. And I think most CISOs are willing and ready to accept the accountability for that.
Yeah, and just to add on to your point, I think it's not only legal. I think the CEO has probably more culpability than legal or any other executive other than the CISO in this. The CISO provides the information and can make very informed statements and call out, things that are not factual. But at the end of the day, I think the CEO has certain responsibility at being at the top of that pyramid to also make sure that everything that's being said is meeting with their fiduciary duties, is accurate, and the company is being forthright to their investors, or in this case also prospective investors. And we're not necessarily seeing this, right? The case is pointed at SolarWinds, the company, and then specifically calling out the CISO. So maybe they're a document, so if people want to go look at that. Right, the SEC claims, and again, this is claims, they haven't proven it yet, but the SEC claims that the CISO knew of attacks against 3 different customers, one in May 2020, one in October 2020, and the other in December 2020. Now, after the last attack, the one in December, they then decided to file a Form 8K disclosure to the SEC. This is the form that basically says something bad has happened, something material here. We need to inform the investors because this can impact them, right? But they failed to disclose that the vulnerability at issue had been exploited over the previous 6 months and impacted 2 other customers.